can also find the line.
This is a man's world.
Hey,
But it wouldn't be nothing without a woman.
hey. Started out riding, man with the geezers when this shit didn't work. Talk about the chick. All of them times my bad ass still ain't listen, was living, but taught me the ways they.
It's Friday. Let's give a round of applause. Happy Friday to everybody, and happy Mother's Day to all of the moms out there. Whether you are a mother, a stepmother, you are a play mom, you have a huge contribution, and we just appreciate you. And thank you for those of you who have already wished me a happy Mother's Day weekend. I received some of your messages, so you're appreciated. I won't be before you long. I'm your podcast bestie, Danny Marie. Today, we're talking about the podcast pain points and what to do about them, why most podcasts stall out, and how to fix it. And I am coming to you from the book of, I'm using my 5 Ps framework. These are the 5 Ps that I know impact podcasters somewhere along their podcasting journey. So we're going to get into that. Typically, I'm here Monday through Friday, 12:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we're live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, Substack, and Instagram. Let's give a round of applause to that. Multicasting and multi-streaming across various platforms so that we can meet the people where they are at on this Friday afternoon. But yeah, let's dive into the topic. So again, these are the pain points just from my years of experience as a podcaster. I started during the pandemic. I've been working with 400 plus people on their podcast journey, whether we've helped someone create a landing page, whether we've helped pitch people and put them in front of potential sponsors, whether we've helped someone put together a deck of cards to promote their content and the stuff that they talk about on their podcast and turn that into something that's monetizable. I've helped various people on my journey, and these are the things that I know are tested, tried, and true. Somewhere on your journey of podcasting, you're going to hit a plateau. And it's typically because of these 5 things that we're talking about today. And so not only are we going to address the problem, but we're going to provide you with some solutions. And if you haven't already, please make sure to visit our website, plantopodcast.com. There's a lot of free resources available on our website. Everything from deciding which platform to use or trying to choose between different equipment. We've put together a ton of resources. And again, it comes from my years of experience, my years of teaching, my years of compiling all of this information and packaging it up so that it's palatable for many of you, my years of coaching and working with people. So this is not stuff that I just pulled out of my behind or used with AI, because before AI was here, I was actually putting all of this stuff together and documenting the process. So this is years of coaching and working with people and soliciting feedback and polling my audience and growing a Facebook community. So all of that said, let's get into it. Again, Danny Marie, your podcast bestie. I am what you might consider a pandemic podcaster turned professional podcast, because I started during the pandemic at the height when everything was in utter chaos. I became a mom for the first time. I lost everything that I had, and we were going through a global pandemic. And then the day after my son's first birthday, my father would pass away. So podcasting became a space where I leaned into for income, stability, healing, identity, and then just where I was able to voice a lot of the things that were personal and pertinent to me at the time. Becoming a mom for the first time, I decided I would start a podcast with my mother. We named it the Mother and Daughter Duo Podcast. We talked about mental health, childhood trauma, generational curses, and the stigmas that single people face. And from that podcast, I started out with a plan. Before we released one single episode, we batch recorded 20 episodes with our producer. We were paying $650 a month for, I think, a total ticket of about $4,500 over the course of the 20 episodes that we eventually published. My whole thought was, because I was recording during the second pregnancy in my third trimester, to batch record so that it would last me enough time to kind of get back on my feet after losing everything and then after giving birth. And so that was my plan. If you know me and you've been following my journey since the beginning, then you probably saw some of my rollout from that podcast, the Mother and Daughter Duo podcast, from renting out a movie theater to doing a photo shoot to asking people to review the podcast, standing in front of a camera and telling people about their feedback after we premiered it at the movie theater. We did so many things to have a successful launch of the Mother and Daughter Duo podcast. Fast forward to life got very hectic after losing everything and having 2 children under the age of 2. Then I pulled back from podcasting and eventually got back on my feet. The next podcast that I did was called Follow Me Friday, because I knew the best way to grow was to involve as many people as possible. So we opened a panel where people could come in, talk about who they are, what they do, their basic 15 minutes of fame, if you will, on my platform, Follow Me Friday. So we had upwards of about 5 people at a time talking about who they are and what they do, whether they were marketing a product, their brand, or their services. And that got me to get a lot of people's attention, because not only am I inviting people on my platform, but then those people got a chance to share. And then the people that were watching them were now following me as a result. So just involving as many people as possible to help speed up the growth and the momentum was a strategy that I took very early on. Then when I noticed that that was successful, I wanted to be more intimate and start building a stronger relationship and rapport with people on an individual level. So then I started Life Unscripted with Danny Marie. And in that journey, I mean, we talked about some very hard truth-telling stuff. It was very personable. It was very intimate. It was very raw, to the point that I had one of my guests come out on my show. He had been living a double life. He was in a marriage and he had grown children. And he was, I think, in his mid to late 50s. And he decided to come out and he shared that story on my platform, Life Unscripted with Danny Marie. That's when I realized I was onto something, and then it became somewhat of an addiction. And so I started podcasting almost every day of the week with a different show. We had Motivation Monday, Mommy Meetup. We had women come on the platform who were talking about how to balance their personal and professional lives. And then on Tuesdays, it was Life Unscripted with Danny Marie. On Thursdays, it was Throw It Back Thursdays. On Fridays, Follow Me Friday. And then plan to podcast somewhere in between. So I was speaking to about 20 plus people in a week between all of those shows. Some of them were like a panel style. Some of them were like solo podcasts. Some of them were one-on-ones with a guest. And I hired people to basically help me with that. So I had someone to take care of all of the administrative stuff. I had someone to find the guests for me. And then I had someone to work on all of my scripts. And then I had someone working on all of the business stuff. So I can basically tell you a thing or two about podcasting, about hiring, about documenting the process, about planning things out, about the pain points of podcasting. And I've basically narrowed it down to these 5 things. Number 1, a plan. Number 2, production. Number 3, platform. Number 4, promotion. And number 5, profit. There are a few more P's, but for the sake of today's topic, we're only focusing on these 5, and we're going to hit each one by one so you get a clear understanding of what each of the 5 P's entails. And then you can let me know in the comment section where you are having a plateau, where you're hitting a plateau, and then we're going to try to help you get over that plateau. So the first P, plan. Meaning you lack clarity, you're not sure about your niche, you lack consistency, or you don't have any clear goals. If your issue in podcasting is, I don't, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the love. Shout out to Jeremy watching on Instagram who gave me some Mother's Day love. And shout out to all of you who are watching, whether you're watching on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, or Substack. You are appreciated. Comment the word live if you're watching live. Comment the word replay if you're catching the replay. And let me take this moment to try to respond to any comments that I see. All right. I see Tez. Shout out to Tez. Tez the Five. Make sure you go follow him on YouTube, TEZDAFYE. He's always spitting the real and raw and God honest truth. And I appreciate him. And I applaud him for his consistency. But typically, if you hit a plateau and you never took the time out to plan and map out either your next 30 days of podcasting, or map out your topics, or what type of guests you want for your platform, or what type of format, or do you want to have segments, or do you want to record all the way through, or would you like to record seasonally and take breaks in between? If you never took the time out to do any of those things, my recommendation would be that you do that. And that's where you should always start off, especially if you are rebooting, if you never launched, or if you feel like you hit a plateau. Go back to your plan and revisit your plan. Do you have clarity about what you're doing, who you're serving, what problem are you solving for your audience, whether you've developed a cadence, whether you have a niche? All of those things go into the planning process. One thing that I like to do to help people start to think about their planning is the ABC method. ABC. So A is anchor your why. You have to get clear. I know you hear this all of the time from every business professional, from every celebrity, from every leader. They'll tell you that they hit a plateau and they had to revisit their why. Why am I doing this? We always get to a point in life where things feel overwhelming, we're unsure of ourselves, we lack confidence, or we just feel like what we're doing is not enough. We're not feeling seen, we're not feeling heard. It always goes back to why. What is your North Star? If you cannot answer that, then everything else that you build will be built on a rocky foundation. So the plan is your solid foundation. It is the framework. It is the place in which you will constantly revisit and do a self-evaluation, a self-check to make sure you're still on track. So if you don't have clarity, if you don't have a why, if you don't have a reason for what you do, then you're going to constantly be in this ebb and flow. You're going to constantly be in this state of confusion. You're going to constantly find yourself doing things that don't really fit or align with who you are as a person or the audience that you want to serve. So A is anchor your why. B is build your audience. So once you understand why you do what you do, now you're building your audience. So if I know that I'm passionate about fitness, or if I'm passionate about finance, or if I'm passionate about comic books, then I don't need to be visiting or building for any person, visiting any spaces or building for any people that don't align with finance, comics, or whatever else, right? Fitness. So you should be very clear about why you do what you do. And once you're clear about that, then you know what people are going to work well with your content. One of the things I absolutely detest and despise are people who say their podcast is for everyone, because the reality is everyone could care less about what you're doing. Only a very small fraction of the people will truly care. And an even smaller community of those people who will actually take the steps to follow you on every part of your journey. Meaning like, okay, the podcast is one thing, but then what about the exclusive community, or the people on Patreon, or the people that are going to buy your t-shirt, or the people that are going to buy your planner? So it's a very small fraction. So you have to get clear about who those people are. So anchor your why, build your audience. That's B. And then C, choose your topic. You don't want to choose a topic that has nothing to do with the fitness community. So jumping over from topic to topic, I had someone who joined my podcast Peeps group, which is something we do every Saturday. And he came in, he lasted like one session, and we've never seen him again. And I think it's because sometimes people have a very difficult time with coloring in the lines. Some people just want to be outside of the lines. And you notice he's like, well, I notice that because he's all over the place all of the time, he doesn't have a lot of engagement. He doesn't get a lot of people to be features on his platform. He gets some, but it's just very lopsided. It's very inconsistent. And that's because he has no clear reason for the things that he does. He's always just throwing out these different wild topics. Sometimes in one live stream, he's talking about 50 million things that have nothing to do with each other. And so it's just all over the place. And it's hard to keep people's attention when you're just all over the place, because some older person can jump in your lives at 65 years old and you're talking about things that relate to somebody much younger. And so that person has immediately lost interest. So if you don't anchor your why, build for your audience, and choose your topic wisely, you lack a plan. And I know you all have heard of, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. These things seem so contrite and so trivial and so elementary and so whatever other adjective we can throw out there, but these things literally are, if you don't plan, I can assure you, you're going to have a time in your podcast journey where you're going to have to go all the way back to the beginning and plan things out, because you will get to a point where, okay, now here's an example. I know you guys have seen this on TikTok at least once or twice before. Like, I think it was the young lady who told the story about her boyfriend. She went on this whole rant, and I think she did a full-on series about her boyfriend. And I think he turned out to be married or something. But she just never got ahead of it and didn't properly plan. So the moment she started to see an influx of traffic start to come through, because now she has everyone's attention and she's tuning in, well, she couldn't monetize from all of that. And it was basically a wasted opportunity. But if you start with the plan, the moment things kind of skyrocket and take off for you, you're already well prepared. Planning is so integral to your success. And what goes into your plan, like I said, ABCs: anchor your why, build for your audience, and choose your topic. But you should know at least these things to get yourself started. Or like I said, you're going to take a few steps forward and then you're going to take double the amount of steps backwards if you fail to plan things out. Easy things that you can do to create a plan. Of course, you can definitely find a coach, and I'm definitely here to help you. We used to do $150 podcast planning projects together where we literally go through step by step by step by step. Okay, what's your plan for launching? What's your plan for promotion? How are you going to market? How are you going to be consistent? What's your format? Are you going to be interviewing people? Are you going to be looking for guests? Are you going to do this alone as a solo podcaster? Many people haven't even answered that question, and they just kind of start free willy-nilly. And I guess that's good, because I do think you should not get so lock-grid on the planning process that you are too afraid to start because you want to have everything perfect. I don't believe that. I do believe okay, you have some very basic things jot down. Now it's time for you to take off and do the thing. But planning can just help save a ton of time. And again, use ChatGPT, use my framework. You can visit the website plantopodcast.com, which is streaming at the very bottom, just so you can take your ideas that are up here and write them down, put them on paper, get them off of your chest, out of your mind, and have something solid written down. Shout out to White Collar. Make sure you check them out. They have an app. This is a mentor to mentee matching app. Again, if you have hit a plateau, it could also be because you don't have the right coach, the right people who can help save you a ton of time and resources because you want to do everything on your own. Especially within the Black community, we really struggle with that. We don't want to throw our ideas out there for the sake of them getting taken or whatever. There's no new idea under the sun. So I don't think that people care about taking your ideas. But you do definitely, and you should consider getting matched up to someone who's done the thing right, to save you the time and the resources without you having to go and do the same thing. Stop trying to duplicate everything and having so much control that you're doing everything on your own. Get help, get a mentor, get someone who can give you the advice and save you time. But shout out to White Collar. That's WITECOLLAR. We are not sponsored by them, but we try to give shout outs where we can, because we believe in helping one another and we believe in not gatekeeping. So check out White Collar. Again, find yourself a mentor that can help you. And if you feel like you are in the mentor seat, then maybe you sign up to become a mentor on the platform because someone's looking for your expertise. Second thing, we're talking about podcast pain points. If you lack clarity, if you lack a niche, you're most welcome. If you lack consistency, if you lack goals, it's probably because you lacked planning. Okay. Second one, production. I think this is one of those ones that's often overlooked, to be honest. Production is not just like, what kind of equipment should I buy? But we'll talk a little bit about that. But production is also your setup. Production is your editing process. Production is your entire workflow. Like, how much time should I be spending on podcasting? And it's not just the act of recording your voice or recording video, but production and workflow is everything that goes into the full-on production of operating a show and running a business and all of those things that go into it. So let's go back to audio video quality first. Do you have something like a checklist that you reference on a frequent basis, maybe every time you go live, that reminds you, because I struggle with this. Okay, Danielle, maybe you have everything set up, but you forgot your charger. So the moment you're 5 minutes into the live, your laptop and your phone are about to die. And so now you're interrupting the flow. Did you check to make sure your audio is working? Did you check to make sure your live is set up? Did you check your profile? Maybe you have a close shot. Maybe you have a wide shot. Did you check to make sure all of those things were set up? Are you checking to make sure that the title is an SEO worthy title? Did you make sure you have the right description? Did you make sure you have the timestamps and all of those things in your checklist? Did you make sure you did all of those things and check those things off? Yes or no? So sometimes it's just the smaller things that we could actually work on to tighten up the spots where we can add more or a greater production value. Just the negligence and failure to do that could be the reason why maybe someone just, you tune somebody out or rub somebody the wrong way because you failed to check the audio quality. And so now there's static and loud noises in the background that you didn't do a quality sound check for. And then if you're noticing those things when you go back and listen and do a self-assessment, are you trying to do your own research and due diligence to make sure you eliminate those distractions and errors? So how often are you going back to check those things and work on the craft? How often are you studying yourself and the production level and doing your research to find out if you have the best equipment? And best doesn't mean most expensive. Best just means the best for right now, for what you can do, for what you can afford. But we do have, again, something on our website, plantopodcast.com. If you go on our website, you should see that there are resources where we tell you, okay, depending on what your budget is, this is what we think would be a great fit. So we have that written out for you. Go to plantopodcast.com and we have something that says beginner level, intermediate level, and advanced equipment. But you pretty much just need a nice microphone. The Rode microphones are really great quality. RODE, Shure microphones. If you're on the go, there are the lapel microphones. But those are just a few to start off with. You need a nice mic. You need some headphones. Believe it or not, I got these. I've tried so many different versions of headphones, but believe it or not, I've got these from Dollar Tree for $5. But I've had microphones for me. And like I said, I started off in a professional podcasting studio paying $650. So nobody could tell me nothing. Okay. But I decided to scale back because for me in my house, I got some rambunctious children who are wild, who will constantly get into my things and have constantly ruined my electronics. So until I have the disposable income where I can just keep investing in expensive quality microphones, I'm going to be using something like this that gets the job done. Not expensive. And again, I've tried the boom microphones, the ones that come in with the arm and come at an angle. I've tried the lapel microphones. I've tried the starter kits. I've tried a professional podcasting studio. I'm good with my $5 setup right here. And literally, as long as you have any kind of microphone that's not Bluetooth, because a Bluetooth means they go in and out if you have a poor connection. I do not recommend those. But as long as you have a headset or a microphone that plugs in, perfect, right? But then again, go back, assess the quality, the sound quality, to make sure there's no reverb, make sure you're checking your levels and all of those things. And you can do that by studying your settings. Which platform are you using? That's the next P. Which platform, which production tools are you using to make sure your sound quality sounds supreme? Recording setup. So sometimes you can be in a space and there's like, if there's too much room, too much space in the room, then it can impact the quality. If there's a loud echo, if it sounds echoey. So what you can do to avoid that or try to combat that is, if you can, add a lot of blankets to the walls, or try to record in a room where it's carpeted. You can purchase styrofoam or soundproof walls or the cartons and tape that or staple it up across the wall. Sometimes the cars are the best places to record, believe it or not, your closet, because it kind of compacts the sound. But again, if you're noticing echo, if you're noticing that it sounds like you're too far, too close to the mic, there's things that you can do. You should be this, at least your microphone should be like about a fist away. Your mouth should be about a fist away from your mic. So if you're noticing that there's too much reverb, maybe you're really hot on the mic, again, try to turn down the levels of the microphone or try to move further away and all of those important things. But again, having a checklist helps with the production value. Your editing process. I was in a Facebook group yesterday and I can't believe that people take like hours to edit, especially now that we have AI. No judgment. Actually, I was judging you, but let me know in the comments, how long is it taking you guys to edit? I just have to know. Because now you have tools with like Descript and Adobe. I think not Audacity. Audacity is the one to me that feels very analog, still feels very old. But you have tools like with Descript where you can read your text like a Word document and you can remove the errors that simple by just copying and pasting or with the toggle of a button. I use CapCut. A lot of people had a mass exodus from CapCut once we realized CapCut said we're going to use your data and use your information. But what platform honestly isn't? We see breaches happen every time, and all they do is cut you a little settlement check. So, I mean, some people care more about it than others. Respect to all of you, but I use CapCut because literally my motto is whatever I can afford that gives me everything in one app, I'm going to go to. So CapCut, you can do teleprompter. You can turn your long form into short form content with AI shorts on CapCut. You have the transcript feature on CapCut that allows you to remove those filler words that I talked about. So it removes any pauses and removes any filler words like and, but, or things that you are repeating that's excessive. So it allows you to easily edit just with a simple toggle of a button. On CapCut, it allows, did I say teleprompter? I think I said that first. Teleprompter, AI shorts, the transcript featured, converting your long form into short form, relighting, captions, everything that you need to edit is accessible through CapCut, and it's only about $20 a month, whereas other people are paying much more and only getting a fraction of what CapCut can offer. If you're referring to CapCut, that's one thing I don't like. Like I would much rather use Opus Clips Pro to turn my long form content into short form content, because you're right about that, Raven, that using CapCut to convert long form to short, it is a very cumbersome process, but it is possible on CapCut. And sometimes it just depends on if you're using your cell phone to do it versus your laptop or your computer. But CapCut, to me, $20 for everything that you get. Like literally, before I knew about CapCut, I paid $99 a month for a teleprompter alone. And teleprompter is great because when you need to, right now people are trying to create content fast. So the moment a new story comes out, you see people that seem to jump on it and it seems so easy for them. But many people are using a teleprompter and you don't even know it. So I was using Big VU for a teleprompter and they were charging me $99. I think it was maybe a one-time purchase, but still I could use CapCut and get all of those things in one, even though CapCut is a monthly purchase, $20 a month. Still very much worth it for all that you can get. And there's a lot of people like literally editing movies using CapCut. So Opus, OPUS, Opus Pro. And Opus allows for you to, like I said, with the click of a button, or you can upload your MP4 if it's a video, upload your video into Opus. And it takes about 10 minutes and it will find all of the, so let me slow down. With Opus, yes, you get to turn your long form into short form content, but you can use the features and tools within Opus to make the process of converting your long form into short form content that much easier and with quality. So you have a B-roll option in there. You have an option for the filters where you can set it. Do you want clips that are about 30 to 60 seconds? Do you want clips that are from 60 to 90 seconds? Do you want clips that are about 3 minutes long? So you can set the filters accordingly just to make your process easier. So if you know, like on YouTube, you can do, I think, 3 minutes now. So you might want to set your filters for a 3-minute clip. So it's going to find the best 3 minutes that it can find. And you can schedule, once it's converted to a short form video, you can schedule that content. If you pay for the package, it will schedule and go automatically to the platforms that you select. So Instagram, Facebook, I think Threads, Twitter, X, formerly known as Twitter. So basically, once you're in Opus, you can schedule your content to go to the necessary platforms, and you don't have to go to those platforms to upload manually. So that's the benefit of using something like Opus. Workflow, I used to use for the workflow process, just so that I can keep everything in perspective about what I need to do. I used to use tools like Northflow, but I stopped. I started creating my own. So like I use Lovable now, and I'll create my own dashboard to help me manage my content creation. But a lot of it honestly just comes off the top of my head. I don't recommend that for everybody. But I am a full-time content creator, full-time podcaster, so I'm home all of the time, and a lot of the stuff just comes from top of mind based on what I'm seeing. I do think it's great to have a healthy balance between evergreen content that you know can last forever and feels timeless, and then things that are like right now in the know, right now in the present. And that's what's helping, if you haven't noticed, with content creation to help you get visibility, is you being quick to provide the news, being the first person to report on something. So that's why I think it's important to like do stuff that's right now and relevant to today, so you can get more visibility and climb up the algorithm faster. And then it's also great to have evergreen content that feels timeless, no matter if they're watching your video in 2026 or 2030, the content is still relevant. So that's evergreen content. For some vocabulary words. Platform. Oh, let me go back to this. Workflow. So there's Monday, there's Northflow. Now you have Claude, you have ChatGPT. You can set parameters where you get an email every day. You can use tools like Marblism with AI agents. So it just depends what you're looking for, what type of workflow you're trying to manage. But a lot of the production can be streamlined with the help of AI. Some people are not able to do any more than maybe 2 hours of work a week because you have life as a full-time parent, you have your full-time job, so you can only devote about 2 hours a week. Use tools like AI to help streamline your process. But there's back-end things like, I can't think of any list of things right now. Monday. Monday.com, Northflow. Of course, you have Go High Level. You can use other tools like a CRM tool. I use HoneyBook, but you have to do your own research. But again, that goes back to the planning piece. If you never took the time out to plan, you don't know what's needed. You don't know what options are out there. So you guys have to look into what is taking up the most of your time. What things can you delegate and offset to AI or hire maybe a VA to help you? But those things that are redundant and repetitive and you don't like doing because they take too much bandwidth, try to offset those things to a virtual assistant or to an AI agent, or try to use things like a chat GPT to create a custom GPT where you're taking those rudimentary, repetitive things and offsetting them so you can free up some of your time. But that's what workflow looks like. Again, going back to the plan and why you should do the planning process first, you know what those things are because you've planned it out, you mapped it out. If it's finding a guest, I recommend using Podmatch, Podmatch, or using Facebook groups, or using Marbleism, where you can hire an AI agent. There's a lead agent that will find out what are some good prospects out there who make for great guests on your platform. All right, let's move along to platform. Platform is where your content lives. It includes distribution, website, email, community, and multi-platform strategy. And it also, to me, means what type of platform do you want to have at the end of the day? So it's not just which distribution channels you want to use to get your content out, but what type of platform do you want to have? Again, I go back to, I like tools that are free or low cost that provide a ton of things in one. So one of the platforms I recommend that's a part of my 5-day challenge is Substack. Substack to me is one of the best platforms, and I've used a lot of them. I've been on Red Circle. I used RSS.com. I've used Streamer. But I use Substack because Substack is like an email list in one. It helps you get your content out onto an RSS feed for your podcast. Then it duplicates the process with one step. Your content is shared across the other different distribution channels because it will go to YouTube and go to other places as well. I think Spotify and Apple. But then also Substack has other verticals too. So you can do lives in Substack. You can do a blog in Substack. You can turn it into something that feels like a newsletter. With your podcast, anytime you do a podcast, you can add your transcript right underneath it. And then you can schedule it so that it goes out to everybody at a later date and time, or that it can go out live in real time. So I just love Substack because it does all of those things. And then when you're done, just like on StreamYard, it will clip up some of your best episodes. So you won't even need Opus clips. You could just use Substack because it does all of that. And to create a Substack account is free. Not to mention, you can set up different tiers where you're charging people maybe for exclusive content. So all of that on Substack, and you create a free profile that you can monetize from Substack. You can use various different verticals on Substack. You can add your RSS feed on Substack. And it's like an email list because it's going to go out to all of your email, all the names on your email. And then you're adding more or new people as well. So I grew my email list to about 400 plus people. And so I exported that list and imported it into Substack. But then also I'm slowly adding more names as more people follow me on Substack as well. So whereas other people are using like a Beehive or MailChimp, I just use Substack because I'm not paying no other fees unless I absolutely need to, or I can use that money for hiring an expert to help me and using that money to hire that person, whereas I can use Substack absolutely for free. I think MailChimp was about $20, Beehive about the same, and then it just goes up and up and up depending on the features that you want to add. So yeah, when it comes to platform, Substack, but I also recommend, let me see something. You guys hear me typing. Also on our website are tools like things to help you determine which platform you want to use based on filtering things out. So like your budget, the features you're looking for, and all of those things. So let me see. Some of this stuff I just want to go to, and that's part of what I do. It's part of my niche. I'm an educator, so I just like to show you things instead of just talking at you. And then, sorry that this might feel all over the place. I'm throwing a bunch of stuff out. But then that's also why going back, especially on YouTube, to look at the transcript so you guys can easily play back the pieces that you didn't catch. And I don't know if you guys know that, but like, here's an example. I'm going to share my screen in just a second. Here's an example of what I mean on YouTube. I don't even think you guys know about this. Some of you, maybe, but some of you, I know you don't. You need to be doing some more of your own research. But if you go to a video like this, and then you use this ask button, you can say, what was the most important piece? Or you can use summarize this video, or recommend related content, or how do AI agents help small media teams? Because that's what the focus of this live was. So it just helps you get the gems or get the substance from the live, instead of feeling like, okay, I don't want to watch this live. It was too long. I'm too lazy. It's 56 minutes. Who's going to sit through all of that? Well, you can still ask the AI to summarize the video so you can get the nuggets. And then you can go in that part of the video if you need to. So I heard Danielle talk about Marbleism. Let me ask, where in this video did she talk about Marbleism? Or she was talking about positioning. Okay, where in this video? Okay, it was between 16 and 18 minutes. Boom. So it will take you exactly to that point, instead of you just bypassing the video altogether because you're lazy. You can actually use a simple tool that will summarize the video for you, okay? But going back to platforms, this is my website. Again, talk about lazy. Some of you guys are not scrolling down, and I'm chastising some of you. Literally, I've done the work for you. So here's that equipment guide I was telling you about. Here is a tool on editing tools. Here is what I wanted to talk about in terms of platforms. Oh, look, we're talking about promo and workflow. There's another one that I created for you. Hosting platforms. So you have Captivate, you have Buzzsprout, RSS.com, Libsyn, Substack, Spotify, Podbean, and Fountain. Again, where did I get this information from? I've been having my group for the past couple of years, basically since I started podcasting, and this is what people say they use. Because there's a ton out there. But this is what you guys are saying you use. So we put them up against each other, because some of the most commonly asked questions when people get into these new groups is, what platform should I use? All right. Well, instead of you asking the same questions over and over and over again, I've compiled a list based on the top answers. And then we did a side-by-side analysis of what the different features are so you can make your decision. So this is best. Captivate is best for growth-minded beginners. The prices that you're looking at between the tiers is $17 and $44. They do have some dynamic and manual ad insertion. You are able to monetize from that platform. They send your content, your podcast, to Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and Amazon. Ease of use is a 4. And then you can look at that against something like RSS, budget conscious, $0 to $12, manual only. So you have to add your own ads. They don't really help you with analytics, which doesn't really help many of us. So maybe you don't choose RSS. And then it's a 3 with ease of use as compared to others, right? So again, all of this stuff was already done for you instead of you trying to figure it out on your own. I had a girlfriend, instead of asking for help, she was trying to switch platforms and didn't realize an RSS, real simple syndication, and RSS feed could have helped her take all of her content when she wanted to move from like Buzzsprout to Libsyn. But she did all of it manually, 100 plus episodes, manually taking it over from one platform to another when she wanted to leave Buzzsprout and go to like RSS.com or Libsyn. That's just an example. I'm not telling you exactly what she did. I'm just saying, asking the right questions, she could have avoided manually doing the process, because that is what an RSS feed is. It is like the fingerprints on your hand, on your fingers. Taking that, putting it into a system. Your podcast has its own handprint, its own fingerprint. That's the RSS feed. You're taking that and moving it to another platform so all of your content will follow instead of you having to manually do that process. But because y'all lack asking questions, you want to do everything yourself, you put yourself in these bad, tight spots. Promotion, that is the 4th P. Clips and social media, SEO, collaborations, and visibility. A lot of you guys will post the podcast the day the podcast airs, and we don't hear anything else from you except for a week later when you're ready to post another episode. You should constantly be doing something to promote yourself, to promote your podcast. Not only are you promoting your podcast, but you should be also promoting yourself. What makes you the expert? What makes you care so much? What makes you passionate about what you do? What makes you interesting? So you're working on a personal brand in between you promoting your podcast. People are falling more in love with the person than the platform. People want to know your backstory, your life story, everything about you. So you should be taking time out to go on other people's podcasts and promote yourself. And your call to action at the end of it should be, by the way, I have this podcast I recommend you listen to. So I recommend at least once a month or once a quarter, which is not enough, honestly speaking, but at least once a month, try to go on other people's podcasts to promote what you do. There should be a healthy balance. I also say this, so I do sometimes contradict myself. I also say if you don't have anything to promote, then you should not just be bouncing on everybody's podcast. But what I want to say to that is at least be aligned. So I wouldn't go on, if I am a feminist, I wouldn't go on a male bashing, a woman bashing platform. While I think that some people might find that entertaining, I just think that it could easily tarnish your brand, you going on somebody that's completely polar opposite of you, especially if you don't have a good handle of it. Like Dr. Bryant, she, to me, can go on any platform and she can handle herself. But you don't want to become the content. You want to do the content. You don't want to become the content. So you don't want to go on a platform where someone can put you in a bad light or where someone could potentially tarnish your brand. Or you don't want to be like a Christian and go on an atheist's podcast unless you can handle it and back it up, right? So you just want to be very mindful of that. And then also try to have something that you're promoting when you're going on other people's platform, even if that means you have to create something, whether it's an ebook, whether, again, you're promoting people listen to your podcast, whether a planner, some type of digital product, at least have something that you can promote. Everybody should be going on the platform and have a call to action. Otherwise, why do it? Have something that you can actually deliver to people. And that's where a lot of affiliate and collaboration things come in, because, okay, if you go on somebody's podcast, you give them the promo code. So let's say I go on White Collar, they're going to be doing a podcast soon, tentatively speaking. I think they said about a year out. So let's say I'm going on White Collar's podcast to tell them why podcasting is a great way to find a mentor or to find a mentee. And so I would create something for my appearance on the White Collar podcast. I might create 10 steps or 10 ways to find a mentor that is best aligned for you. So I'll create something like that. And for everybody that downloads this ebook or this guide, I would give a percentage of those proceeds of that money to White Collar. So I would use the code White Collar or White or Collar. And everybody that uses that code, they get a discount, as well as the brand White Collar, the app, they would get a discount. And that's what affiliate links are. But going back to plantopodcast.com, we also have something on the website for you to help you with your promotion. And let me go share my screen again. And then I'm going to be getting out of here in just a minute. And that's another thing about being an educator. I just kind of I give it all. There's no gatekeeping with me. So sometimes people can handle that. Sometimes people don't have the capacity for it. I blame other people. You know your capacity. I try not to take that on as, okay, well, you should not give that much information. You should scale it down. I'm like, I'm going to give it all, and whatever you can take it. Whatever you can't, dismiss yourself. But I am going to come to a close very soon. So promo workflow charts. Again, something that we created based on our experience. These are things that you could be doing to constantly be promoting yourself and your podcast. We broke it down in steps at the top, and then we broke it down here as well. So let's say Monday, you tease this week's episode with a clip or a quote. Tuesday, you release the episode and you share across all your main platforms. And again, main platforms don't mean you need to be everywhere. Main means you need to be where your audience is. Wednesday, you post a behind the scenes video or a mini takeaway, or maybe like a reaction video of you watching back the episode. Thursday is when you take time to engage and comment to everyone who left a comment under your podcast. Friday, you feature a listener. You spotlight one of your members of the Facebook community. You share your stats and how much you're growing, and then take the time in the weekend to repurpose your content and to plan for the following week. So that's just a snapshot, just one example. You're going to do this based on how much time and availability you have. Maybe you don't have Monday through Friday. Maybe you have Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Maybe you have only Tuesdays and Thursdays, but you should be doing something around the clock. And this is why scheduling makes that things easier. So you don't necessarily have to be doing it in real time. You can schedule this out. Maybe take a Sunday to schedule everything out for the week. But this is something that you could be doing. So every day it's helping with the promotion of your podcast, but not waiting to do it and only doing, everybody listen to my podcast, new episode out now. That's not enough. Sometimes I go live and I say, hey, there's a new podcast. Or sometimes when there's a big event like this week, I'm going live every day to promote the event that's coming up Saturday, tomorrow. I did the same thing when I was trying to sell tickets for the Black Effect Podcast Festival, the activation that we did. I went live for like 2 weeks straight so that I can promote what I was doing 2 weeks from, that time. That's what I recommend to you guys. What other things can you be doing to promote? So let's say reverse engineering. What is it? What's the goal? And can you work backwards so that you accomplish said goal? If you know that you have a huge event, a live show coming up in September, every month leading up to September, you should be doing something. The first month, maybe all you're doing is an email campaign. Then as you get closer, then the next thing you're going to do is probably be posted outside at the park for a week or two to make sure you get people ready and geared up and you meet people face to face. Then the next month, maybe you go out to all of the major coffee shops or the bookstores and you put up flyers. And then the month of, you're live every single day leading up to the live show that you're doing. But you should be doing something to promote yourself and your podcast. Now, the final P, once you've done all of that, profit. The profit piece. Let me stop sharing. Profit is the monetization, the sponsorships, the digital products, the services, and the community. So I'm not going to elaborate much here because I want to invite you all to join us on tomorrow's meetup. So you can go to podcastpeeps.com/events, and I'll share this. And we're going to talk about the 8 ways you could be monetizing your podcast. And I guarantee you, there's going to be some people that say, oh, I already knew that. But for whatever reason, you ain't implemented not one thing you already knew yet. And so I recommend that you join us tomorrow. There is general admission. So for the first hour, we're going to talk about the 8 things. And then after that is an opportunity for more one-on-one support, where you can ask your questions, and then we're going to work together in real time so that you can walk away with at least one thing, that you can monetize from. And then you have the rest of your day to enjoy as a mother or enjoy your wife, your spouse, for Mother's Day weekend. So we won't hold you too long. We just want to help you walk away with something. So we're gonna help you build your plan, answer questions and all of those things after the first hour. And it should be only like 30 to 45 more minutes in the VIP room. But yeah, that's tomorrow. You have to go to podcastpeeps.com/events to register. You can go here to save my seat for general admission. Or if you go back to VIP, you can grab VIP. Now it says suggested price here, but the minimum here. So this is what you feel like you can afford. I think it's going to be worth it to do this, of course, but I also know that I work with different people where they are at, whatever you can afford, but at least compensate me for something, because I'm trying to help you monetize from something that you could be making money 1 year from now, 2 years from now. And if you haven't done it already on your own and I'm here helping you, then that's the reason for me charging. Because I know some people are like, everybody trying to charge for something. I don't charge people enough. But this is something to help you walk away with something. And then you could be monetizing that same day, enjoying yourself with your family, getting some dings to your phone. So that's the reason for the VIP. Again, providing options, meeting people where they are at. But that is tomorrow. We're talking about 8 ways for you to monetize. You must visit the website, podcastpeeps.com/events. Now let me go to the comments section to see what other people are asking or saying in the comments. And then I'm going to wrap. Okay. My bad, y'all. Bad idea. I open Facebook and all of a sudden I hear everybody's reels in my ear. I'm just trying to see if there was any comments under the live that I can respond to. So let's see. I don't see any on Facebook And then let me check. Okay, very cool. So I see them now. Thank you all for listening. Again, there was a lot that I threw at you because I just give information like that. I just want you guys to have everything, and then you can go back and you can go figure out what I shared that's most important to you that you can actually apply today. If you have questions about anything that I said, of course, I'm always a DM away. And then, of course, tomorrow, we're doing the session that is 7 a.m. PST, 10 a.m. EST. This is our regular meetup time. We're just using it for dual purposes tomorrow to teach all of you about 8 ways to monetize. And again, you can do general admission, so don't feel obligated to do the VIP. The VIP is only for the people who want help in real time and walk away with something that they can be monetizing same day. I am Danny Marie, your podcast bestie, and I will talk with you all tomorrow for those of you who join us on Saturday.
This is a man's world.
Hey,
But it wouldn't be nothing without a woman.
hey. Started out riding, man with the gears when this shit didn't work. Talk about the chick. All of them talk, my bad ass still ain't listen. Was